I just bought this Darth Maul Legacy Lightsaber for like 60% off because it won't turn on. When I put a blade into the hilt, it makes a sound. So I suspect that it's the switch, which actually doesn't move, but I'm not positive. So let's tear it down, see how it works, and try to fix it. Most people know that you can remove the battery pack here, and we'll go ahead and do that for safety right now. Spin this back on. The next two things that need to be disassembled are this red switch right here and the emitter. The chassis will pop out from the top once the emitter is off. And to get the chassis out, we have to remove the switch as well as this button right here. So we'll go ahead and do that first. So this switch is held in by two very small pins, one on either side of the switch. I've already actually removed these. You caught me in the middle of this. You'll see there's a hole here and a corresponding one right on the other side of the switch. The way you pop them out is really simple. You take a very small pick or awl or something like that, and you just lightly tap both sides until you can't see the pins anymore. And then you can pop off this red cover. And this covers up this sort of black switch plate in which you'll find the pins. I of course lost mine almost immediately. And so I'm just gonna show you everything disassembled from that point on. But now we have the switch cover off. Hold on to your pins if you haven't damaged the surround too much. You might be able to reuse them. Because I lost mine almost immediately, I actually got some of this music wire from the hardware store. This is 0.062 of an inch, so slightly less than 1/16 of an inch. I'm gonna go ahead and fabricate a new pin, a single pin this time instead of two pins. All right, so now that we have the switch out, we can take off the switch surround. For a job like this, I definitely recommend one of these micro screwdriver kits. Okay, so there's this really large screw, a little spacer in the center, as well as the surround that thing can just come out. We want to save all those pieces, of course, so we'll keep them safe inside the bin. Now we can address either this screw right here, which I understand unscrews, but I don't actually see that happening. I'm gonna wait and hold off on this one, and I'm just gonna try to unscrew the emitter. There is glue all around this seam, and I believe all around this seam at the top, although, yeah, there's a seam right here, right where the vertical meets the horizontal. And then I believe there's a seam right behind this rubber ring right here. So we're gonna give it a little heat, not from a heat gun, from just a blow dryer, but we'll go ahead and do that now. And the goal here is just to heat up this seam. We don't actually want to do any melting of any plastic. We just want to heat the seam up, so we heat the glue. Nice and warm, and we'll try to untwist it. Nothing yet. All right. Yeah, it definitely does hide a seam here. Okay, so let's try this. We're gonna go ahead and take this O-ring out. Try not to hurt it. Yeah, so we got a seam right in here. Okay, let's try that. All right, so we gotta go with something a little more heavy duty here. And a heat gun should do. Start off on low. Just get this nice and warm. But still, nothing quite doing. All right, I finally got the Maul Saber apart, and I'm gonna show you how I did it so it might help you in the future. So the main body comes apart in 2 or 3 pieces. The upper ring, the emitter, as well as the main tube itself. It's got this really nasty glue on it. It's not quite super glue and it's not quite epoxy. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but heat does seem to help. So when I had it together, nasty sound. I utilized the vanes here in my vise, and it's really important to have either wood, silicone, or plastic protecting your vise, or maybe even a towel, but you don't want to do metal on this metal. I stuck it in here and tightened it up really, really well. Then I took a normal towel and I wrapped it around the upper part and grabbed my vice grips and locked it around. So now that I had this set up, I could get my heat gun down into this area right under the towel on the emitter itself and just start heating that up from both sides. Once I heated that up, I just started to slowly twist, and as I heated it up, it started to twist even more, and finally I was able to unscrew it. So that's how simple it is. All you need to do is heat it up and that glue will debond and you're good to go. So now we can take a look at this switch. Alright, so here's the chassis, and the switch is way simpler than I thought it would be, honestly. Future Brian here. I realized I didn't film removing this little screw under the switch, and so let me explain really quickly how I did it. There's a bit of glue under this screw, so I heated up with the heat gun just like the emitter, and then used a pair of pliers and a towel, kind of like this. Pretty simple, but this worked fairly easily. This screw holds in the chassis, so you need to remove it to get the chassis out the top. Alright, now back to the teardown. Got this little back and forth switch that this little collar rides on, and so what you're actually twisting when you twist the switch, that little knob, is this collar, and it's flipping it back and forth. So why don't we try it out and see if it's working. So I'm just going to hold these together, make contact with the battery pack, and then make contact with the blade. Alright. Alright, well look at that. It's that simple. So I think something was getting stuck inside the chassis. So I don't actually see anything in the tube itself, but it was getting stuck, so let's see. What if we pop this back in really quick? Now that I have the whole thing back together, I realized that a single pin isn't gonna work through here. So what's going on is, you can see in the hole, the screw head actually blocks the way. So that means we're gonna have to put 2 pins in here, which is why I think they had that in the first place. I have a little damage on mine, so we're gonna see how we can do, but we'll try to get 2 pins, one in either hole, just long enough so that they don't contact that screw. I just cut them with a Dremel with a cutoff disc. My diagonal snips, as it turns out, wouldn't cut this hard wire. Alright, and now that it's back together, let's see if we solve the problem. Alright. This is a saber I've wanted for a long time now, and I'm really happy that it was a simple fix to get it working again. I'm also really stoked that I was able to show you how to disassemble this lightsaber, because a lot of this information is really hard to come by right now. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments and give it a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back next time on the Empire Stuff Workshop.